Good morning, everyone. It is Stephen and Andrea from Pin in the Atlas. We're still up in the mountains of Idaho. It's stunning out here. Today we're going to be exploring the Bonanza City ruins. As we entered the town, kind of tucked away behind these trees here was this little building. Is once you come inside here, you can see there are no windows. So don't know what this building was, if it was just kind of some type of storage or... That first little cabin is just back there. As you can see, it's pretty well hidden. The next one, though, is right on the roadway.
Yeah, all the cabins are really well scattered. This place was quite big in its day. Now, it was originally founded in 1876 when the General Custer Mine was also established, but construction of the actual town was in 1878.
Yeah, and see, that, like we say, that's always weird because...
Round nails.
Round nails. And like in that first one, it was all round nail construction, and it looked like they had done more modern building onto it or adding on later in the town's history.
You can see a lot of the canvas still on the wall.
Yeah, and they've got like shelves in the back there next to the window and the back door.
But there's no signs on saying what building is what.
This one here is along the roadway as well. And again, you can see like the log cabin building techniques in the back side. And then this front structure, it's all one by, they got corrugated metal roof. Then this right here we're standing in front of, looks like a little doorway to the porch. Then onto the front door just back there. It's all in shambles. Then along to the other side here, you can see that the wall's completely given way. Then again, a little further back, behind some of these trees, is this little building, which is also leaves us scratching our heads because of the building techniques. It's much more modern looking, and as you can see right down here, it's on a tow hitch.
I wonder if this was originally up in town and they've moved it.
That could be.
But it doesn't really give anything away inside. I mean, apart, obviously there was a stove, you can see a stove outlet. But apart from that, I mean, was it a cabin? Was it a shop?
Yeah, just that's like the little kitchen area, and then like Andrea said right there, little vent area for the stove. So yeah, it's almost like a small little travel trailer type thing. And yet another one that has not withstood the test of time.
This is interesting though. Again, it looks like it's been moved. Look at the bottom, it's on a metal...
It's on a very large steel platform.
So again, I wonder if this one has been moved. Now, an old toll road was built from Bonanza to Challis in 1879. So I'm wondering whether or not the road that we've just walked up was the original toll road. I say original a lot, don't I?
And on closer inspection, you can see a very large wheel underneath, and it's got some leaf springs. So this definitely was a mobile home, apparently, or maybe it just like a little shop or something, but it definitely was able to move. And as we always say, no explorer would be complete without a trip to the loo.
This one's seen better days.
Yeah, this outhouse really is completely outside now. Looks like the tree's falling down on him. Busted it all up. Next building on the list. This was the saloon?
Yep, saloon and general store. And the owners of the general store lived in the back. Now, before we go in, I'd like to say that this is private property and there are no trespassing signs. However, we have managed to speak to the owner, Billy. Thank you very much, Billy. Billy has given us full permission to explore all the buildings in the town of Bonanza. Let's take a look. Now, he did say that it was Billy's grandfather that lived here and owned this saloon back in the day.
We'll just peek the camera in here.
Now, the first bit we can go in, the back bit, which was the residence, has actually collapsed, so we can't go back there. But
right, and as you can see straight ahead, all the collapsed timbers.
so would that have been storage?
Possibly
or...
storage, yeah, that's what I'm guessing. All lined with the cardboard.
So I wonder whether or not the general store and the saloon was like in the same place. You come in, you have a shot of whiskey and buy a loaf of bread. Possibly.
Yeah, well, if I'd started off by having a shot of whiskey, I wouldn't be able to afford bread afterwards.
Now, the one thing about Bonanza is most of the buildings have actually been destroyed. There were 2 fires. One was in 1889, I believe, and they're grass fires. And then the second one, let me close this up, and then the second one was in 1897, and that was the doom of the town, unfortunately.
Back behind the saloon now, so this was the residence area. As you can see, it is, again, in shambles.
Well, look at the roof. Look how they've done, would you call those shingles on top?
Yeah,
and
it had
then
shingles, and then it looks like it was covered in the
metal.
corrugated metal as well.
So yeah, Billy's grandparents built this and lived here. And Billy's granddad built this cabin. Now, we could normally go in this one, but unfortunately Billy's got some relatives staying, so we're not able to pop into that one. But there is another one further up the road, so let's take a look at that.
And again, a nice, very small, humble cabin. And you can see between the logs how they would stuff it. There's some extra wood and probably like mud type of material. Help insulate it. And then inside, see, we've got the canvas.
There's quite
cardboard.
a lot of canvas left. And how they've used an old box as a shelf unit.
Like an old crate.
So that's why all of the nails are round, because all of these were built after in the 1900s, not prior. All the original town, all the old buildings, were destroyed.
Yeah,
oh wow!
by fire.
Look at the wallpaper. Oh, actually, this is. They put wallpaper over the top of the canvas, I believe, or is that part of the canvas? It's pretty.
And yet again, another cabin that has unfortunately collapsed due to harsh elements.
I wonder what this one was.
And again, see some canvas hanging from the ceiling in there.
See, they had sod roofs, which on top of the metal and the wood, which has caused the collapse. Look at the little cupboard. Oh no, that's a window.
Like
at the back there.
Cold storage back there?
No, I think that's a window, because if you look at the... Oh no, maybe it's not. Maybe you're right. Maybe it is cold storage. Because their windows close up and lock from the inside.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
It is, looking at these old building techniques.
And look at this old stove.
Very fancy.
I wonder if that was a baking dish, you know, what you put your chicken in, or turkey. Basting pan.
Yeah.
Looks like it.
It does. And the last structure.
This looks like a barn of some sort.
Oh, look at this table and bench. That's cool.
It's pretty amazing, isn't it? So simple, roughly constructed.
Mm-hmm. And the last little section in here, got a mattress frame. You can see the timbers have snapped under the weight. And these are the last few structures on the property here. And as you can see, that cabin that is occupied must not have indoor plumbing. And just a quick look inside this last little building. See, there's 2 tables back there.
Again, the canvas is still on the wall. This is actually the best lot of canvas we've seen.
Yeah, it's really well preserved. You see the floor as well.
Oh look, double glazing. You've got some panes of glass inside and some more outside.
And if that didn't work, they put some metal in there. And here we are now, up the hill further at the Bonanza Cemetery. Some of the names of those who are here.
And as far as I can tell, each of the burial sites were in ethnic groups. And a lot of the Chinese people that were buried here, as it's their custom, they were exhumed and taken back to their homeland.
And unfortunately, with poor documentation in the early years, there still are unknowns. And although the plaque at the front did have quite a few names of those laid to rest here, we've been finding, with the exception of just a few, like the one in the center of the screen, a lot of these headstones just are marked unknown. This is a different style grave here.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? The one thing I have noticed about this cemetery is normally, at least with Christian burials, the graves are face east to west. But here, they're all mishmashed. They're facing all different directions. Now there is a second cemetery called Boot Hill Cemetery further up the road. And there's a story behind that one. So let's take a look. So this is the site of the new cemetery. Now the first resident was Richard King, and there's a really sad story about this. Richard and Lizzie King from London moved from Bodie to Bonanza in 1878. Now Richard had a business in real estate, and Lizzie, she was a beautiful blonde bombshell, ran the saloon and dance hall, and they became friends with Bonanza's founder, Charles Franklin, and Lizzie spent lots of time with him. Now the story goes that Richard and his business partner Dylan got into a real estate argument, and Dylan shot Richard dead in 1879. He did go to prison for 10 years, and Lizzie, with the help of Charles, picked out his burial spot, which is here. Now Lizzie and Charles, who was infatuated by her, started courting, and obviously the story goes that he wanted to marry Lizzie, and she ended up marrying somebody else called Robert Hawthorne. 6 days after they got married, they were both found shot dead in their home. Charles picked out these 2 spots, buried Lizzie and her new husband, Robert, didn't put her new married name on the gravesite, and then shortly afterwards up and left and went to Stanley. Now, years later, his body was found in his cabin, and he was clutching a locket with the photograph of Lizzie. Now, apparently, the story goes that he actually shot Lizzie and Robert through jealousy, but nobody could ever prove it. So here lies Lizzie King, buried in between her 2 husbands. And the townsfolk decided that they would just leave these 3 graves here. True story.
We would like to extend a very special thank you to Billy for giving us permission to explore the Bonanza Ghost Town, because it is privately owned and a lot of it his family built. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, very, very interesting story as well, especially with the grave sites. So I hope you found that as interesting as we did. Now we're going to go and check out the Yankee Forge Dredge, which is also somewhere that Billy's granddad used to work. And on that note, get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure. Bye.
Bye.